Hi, I'm Steve Lawson. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel here at Creativ Studios. I'm doing this video because I have coming out this week on a UK DVD a new movie that I directed called The Haunting of Annie Dyer, which is a sort of it's a wacky homage to 80s horror B movies really. And the interesting thing about The Haunting of Annie Dyer, I think it may be the only film ever to be commercially released that was created by one person. With no crew whatsoever. No other writers, no producers, no camera ops, no lighting people, no sound people, nothing. I did absolutely everything on this film entirely single-handedly, which is not a huge stretch because on most of my features, anyone who's seen them and seen the end credits, it's usually me and 2 or 3 other people doing some of the stuff. So The Haunting of Annie Dyer, even by my standards, is unique. There was no crew, there was nobody. I did everything single-handedly. And you might think, you could be forgiven for thinking, that must be a pretty crappy movie. Well, I'd advise anyone who's interested in filmmaking to take a look, because just because I was doing everything myself, it doesn't mean I kind of skimped on the production values or standards. You know, if you look at the camera work and the lighting, actually, of all my films up to that point, it's probably my favourite in terms of the look of the film and the lighting. As I say, because it was kind of an homage to 80s B movies, I wanted to use a lot of coloured lights and smoke and stuff like that. It's an interesting film. It is meant to be funny. It's meant to be kind of a spoofy horror comedy, but I think perhaps my sense of humour is a little unusual because there aren't really many jokes in it. I think it's funny, but some people seem to think it's serious. But what's particularly interesting right now is that that movie is kind of a counterpoint to a short film that I've just been co-directing called Time and Again, which stars the lovely Helen Cravell and the wonderful Colin Baker, who used to play Doctor Who, as you may know. This was a short film that was crowdfunded and shot in my studio here. And because it was crowdfunded, we were able to afford a crew. Not a huge crew, but probably a fairly typical size of crew for a short film. There was a proper sound person, proper camera team, set design people, makeup artist, you know, a reasonable size of crew for a short film, about what you'd expect. And it was really my first time that I can think of anyway, directing with a crew to actually do the things I would normally run around doing myself, like setting up the lights and operating the camera and all that kind of thing. And it's a really interesting and different experience for me. What's unexpected is that I think the more crew you have, the longer everything seems to take. And that's not a criticism of the people. It was a fantastic crew. I loved working with them. But, you know, normally if I think to myself when I'm setting up a shot, oh, I want the camera here and I want the light here, I'll just do it there and then. I don't need to, because it's my film and I'm directing and I'm producing, so I don't need to say to anybody, I think we should maybe have the light there, and then maybe we should have the camera. You know, I just do it. And it's done and we shoot. Whereas when you've got a crew, and also I had a co-director as well, so again, you can't just say, let's do this, let's do that. You have to discuss everything. But yeah, again, you have to discuss things with your camera. Even if you just say to them, I want this, and they do it, even that kind of takes twice the time of just doing it yourself. And of course, if you're working with good, competent, creative people, they'll probably have their own ideas as well, and there'll be a bit of input and a bit of conversation this way and that, which is natural and it's great, it's normal, and it's to be recommended. But it takes time, you know? And so we had 4 days to shoot a 10-minute short. And we took all the time. I mean, you know, it went pretty much to schedule, but certainly it took the time that we had to do that short in the 4 days. And I normally will shoot a feature film in like a week. So in 4 days, I would expect to get probably almost an hour of running time, certainly more than half an hour. So, you know what I mean? Normally I can get about an hour's running time in 4 days. With a big crew, I got about 10 minutes running time. And yes, you could say it was better quality material, but I don't think it was that much better. I certainly learnt a lot, and that's the good thing about working and collaborating with a crew, is that you learn things you didn't know, obviously. And that's certainly gone on to influence the feature I'm doing now. You know, I saw some things that the set design people did, and the lighting people did, and I thought, yeah, that's good, that's interesting. I've brought some of that into my new film, which I am shooting in the usual style with a small crew, like 2 or 3 people. But yeah, it's just an interesting contrast between Annie Dyer, 0 crew, do everything myself, and then time and again with a fairly substantial crew. And I'm not sure which I prefer, to be honest, because I'm a little bit of a control freak, it has to be said. And there's something very satisfying about just doing everything yourself, although it's very tiring. And it's starting to really kill my knees these days. So I'd say if you're someone out there who enjoys a slightly cheesy B movie, then definitely get hold of The Haunting of Annie Dyer. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. And also definitely, if you're into filmmaking and you're into your indie films, have a look at it and just see what can be done, you know, without spending a lot of money and without having a big crew. Because as I say, The Haunting of Annie Dyer, it's got some of the best and most interesting kind of lighting, creative lighting and camera shots that I've done. It's a fun little movie. And well, if you've seen it, leave some feedback below. And once again, thanks for watching my YouTube channel.